I'm saying, for me, I am very much somebody who appreciates ethnic makeup. Like, you can't come to this country. Let's just hypothesize and say that you've got a grandparent who moves to this country, Scandinavian grandparents who move to this country. They procreate. They have a white a white child, and that white child then procreates with somebody else. Then you're born. You've got Scandinavian DNA, so it just really depends on the ethnic makeup. This term "white," I don't like it. Like, it's just a fucking umbrella term as far as I'm concerned. Like, Celtic people are different to Nordic people. Like, if you start to go down that route, you're kind of complicit in the eradication of the diversity, and it's the only time I use the term diversity in a positive light. The diversity of the European people. Like, I ain't the fucking same as a Spanish person, nor is an English person the same as a fucking Swedish person. But different people. There's nothing wrong with that. You should own it. You shouldn't be ashamed of that, nor should you just shove it to the side and go, well, we're all white. No, we're not. Like, it's just a term it's an identifier. Like, ethnic background is important. And I'm sorry, like, I'm not going down that route because I'm Scottish. You will not get me running around saying I'm white.
Oh, you made me laugh there as you see my eyes. Because my wife, although she was born in America, she's 97% Irish and about 3% Welsh, and I'm, about 78% English and 24% Welsh. So to say you have to split us up when we've been married for 31 years, I'm sorry, I can't accept that one.
Well, we got somebody on who wants to address.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello. So I'm Norwegian, and as a Norwegian, I am attacked for being white. The Scottish are attacked for being white. In America, Albanians are dragged out of their cars and beaten to death in the streets for being white. It doesn't matter if you identify as white, they identify you as white. They see if you look white, if you look Caucasian, then they have a right to attack you. And this anti-whiteism has now come to Scotland. There was this Pakistani minister in Scotland who stood in Parliament and he said, look at all of these Scottish prime ministers, white, 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 white. They have to be replaced by brown and black people. So anti-whiteism is here. Whether we like it or not, it's disgusting, of course. We wish it had never come here, but it has come here, and we have to face it. We have to grapple with this. We cannot just stick our heads in the sand and say, well, I'm not white. Well, they don't care. They just don't care. If you look Caucasian, to them, you are white, and they will attack you for being white. So thanks for listening.
I actually
I don't disagree. I've said this before. Like, even like the likes when they talk about colonialism and all this stuff. What, like, for Sweden's a perfect. Who the fuck did Sweden colonize? Like, we're all under the same umbrella. We were tarnished under the same brush. My point is that I'm just not going to give up my ethnic makeup.
No, but nobody's saying you should give up your ethnic makeup. This is a fallacy. Well, why would you suggest that you should ever give up your ethnic makeup? You're a Scotsman.
White Scottish. I'm Scottish. That's my point.
No, you don't like it. I don't like being murdered. I don't like white genocide. But it's happening. But it's happening, right?
Why are you getting all mouthy like?
Yes.
We're having
because this is what I'm hearing from every country. I'm not white. I'm Scottish. I'm not white. I'm Norwegian. I'm not white. I'm Polish.
Right.
So the one does not negate the other, right? You have a more specific identity than Scottish also, right? You are from a specific region within Scotland, but you don't say, oh, well, I'm from this region, so I'm not Scottish. It's the same thing with whiteness. Yeah, go ahead.
Saramer, I want to ask a question, and I don't mean to be too personal.
Tone it down a bit, yeah.
No. Just if you don't mind my asking, when did you find out about the demographic issues that are going on right now? Like, about what year?
in the 1990s, when I learned to read, I was reading a magazine called Illustrated Science. And there was this fun fact on the bottom of the page. Hey, did you know that if demographic trends continue, the white race will disappear by year such and such? And at that moment, I became worried about the demographics. This was in the 90s. I was like 7 or 8 or something like that. But
okay.
So I've been worried about it ever since. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm only curious. And do you live in a city or do you live in a rural area?
I live in Bergen in Norway.
What's the population?
It's 300,000.
Okay, so a fairly large city. Okay, that's fine. I'm only curious because it is true. Your tone was very heightened.
A bit bellicose, maybe. Yeah.
No, it's okay. But I do agree, though. I actually do. Like, I get it. The thing is, like, your level of ire is exactly where I was back in like 2018, 2019.
Right.
And where I am, like, I mean, you know, take it for what you will. You guys have the luxury of still being in largely ethnically homogenous areas. I do not enjoy that at all. I don't live in that situation. And indeed, when I went to Middle America, you can just about wipe tears from my face because it was just so pleasant to be around people who don't fucking hate me. The thing is,
with respect, this guy, if that's not the situation in London or Birmingham or Leicester or Manchester.
I'm painfully aware. I've come to the conclusion that every major city in every Western country is indistinguishable from either London, New York, or Los Angeles or Berlin. I don't see a difference. Paris, pick one, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. I know this because I freaking went to a couple of major cities out in the Midwest, and I saw exactly what I see here in Los Angeles. So the only times you start to get into what we would consider normality is once you get out of the cities, and that's basically it. Anyway, the thing. Okay, so coming back though, Sarah, your idea of you will be attacked for being white, whether you identify as such or not. I actually agree with that.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's not an opinion. It's actually a fact.
No, I know. I know this because it's happened to me like recently, like very recently. So the thing is, like, okay, this might sound a little bit. I always raise my own eyebrows at this one, so take it for what you will. I am of the opinion now that there's probably going to have to be a delineation. I'm referring to Americans, and I assume that someone in Europe could also think in these terms, but I'm only speaking of being an American.
Whatever that means these days. Right.
Well, I'm now thinking of founding stock, so I'm thinking of Anglos. Mostly. Okay, so whatever. I'm not going to go into that, but just the founding stock of Americans were Anglos.
You have a white supremacist definition of what it is to be an American, then, huh? Right? Like the founding fathers. Nothing wrong with that, bro. Nothing wrong with that.
I know. Whatever. I'm not going to worry about that, though. Okay. The point here is that founding stock Americans are going to have to start thinking of themselves as being a cohesive group and saying that we will not be ruled by people who are exogenous, who are hostile to us. At some point, that has to be the case. When you look at the black nationalist movements going on here in America, what do? They say, we are a contiguous group of people. We identify as being a part of this group of people, and we don't want to be ruled by people who are exogenous to us. And I'm going to go on the record, and I'm going to say, based, yes. The only thing
absolutely.
I am a nationalist, and so as far as I'm concerned, anyone that is advocating for their own people, hat to heart, I respect that. I do. So I think that they are doing something that, in my estimation, is good for them. I applaud that. And I think that we, again, in America, ought to be doing something basically the same. We should be advocating for our own. And I do think that at some point you have to start making distinctions. And the distinction here is I don't want to be ruled by exogenous groups who hate me. So how does that tie into that your discussion of us being claimed as being white? The reason that I bring this up is because the people that are attacking us and saying that we are white, whether or not it has anything to do with our identity, if those people are not us, it doesn't matter what they say. It only matters what we say. Once they are separated psychologically from us, their attacks don't mean anything. And that's why, like, for example, when people call me, what is it, Nazi racist, KKK, something USA, that's a person that hates me. They're not a part of my people. They're not a part of my group. I don't care what they say.
Right, but it's our own people. It's our own leftist people who are doing this to us, right? We are in a white civil war, and it is the leftist white male who has allied himself with white women and minorities, and he is dragging in the whole third world to genocide his own culture and his own race. Right. And he's using anti-whiteism, right, which portrays itself as anti-racism. Anti-racist is just a code word for anti-white.
Oh no!
So we are in a cold white civil war where the white left is waging war on Western civilization via the weapon of mass destruction of this mass immigration.
Well, okay, I'm going to push back only a little bit on that, only a little bit. And that little tiny bit of pushback that I'm going to give here is that I believe that, because I do agree, that there are a lot of self-loathing white leftists that are selling out the rest of us. I'm in full agreement with that. Again, here's the pushback. It's not big pushback, it's minor. I believe that they are acting largely under the guidance of people who are not us, who pretend to be us. I don't know who these people are. I can't name them.
Yeah, the small hat people. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to name them. They shall not be named here. But anyway, the thing is that...
But the thing is that the small hats were allowed to subvert ours. I mean, the small hats are tolerated by the liberals. The liberals are the ones who emancipated them. The small hats are just doing the work of the liberal, of the white liberal.
Well, a little column A, a little bit of column B, a little bit of both.
Here's a question for you from Shinobi. And this is the point I was making earlier on. Does this guy know that we're being replaced by Polish and Romanians too? Now, before you answer, I'm not using the word replaced. I just don't want them here.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
The Poles and Romanians are here because you are not allowed to discriminate. Because the second that you, as a Scotsman or an Englishman or an Irishman, the second you want to discriminate, then they say, no, you're white. You're not allowed to discriminate because you are white. And so you have to shut up. And we're going to flood you with every migrant under the sun. And if you say anything that you're a Nazi, and we're going to treat you like in 1945, okay, Nazi? This is the paradigm that we are all living in now.
No, but hold on a second. I mean, the Polish and Romanians, I mean, they started flooding this country, under Tony Blair in the 2000s, I suppose. And that was because of the EU. And, the English didn't really like that. I mean, they're still white people.
Yeah.
But they're not the same as us, and they don't think the same as us. And
I know.
Let me tell you something, Sarah. I actually ran a food factory, and I needed more workforce, and the only place I could get it was from Polish immigrants.
Because you have aborted 10 million English babies. 10 million English babies have been aborted, and they would have had 2 to 3 children each. So you are missing 20 or 30 million English people. That is
yes, I agree with that. But to finish my story, they're the only people I could get. And I tell you what, they were a minority of the factory workers. Now the whole factory is 90% Polish. They got rid of the English. They kicked them out.
I know. It's the same thing in Norway, right? We have hundreds of thousands of Polish people, and I know many of them, also Romanians, but they are based and red-pilled, right? They know what's happening, and they never pretend to be Norwegian or English. You have never met a Polish man who says, I'm English. He says, no, I'm Polish. It's only the
they started their own shops. They sold their own food.
Yeah, exactly. So they are not pretending to be English, but the BAMEs and the POCs, you have to pretend that they are English. You don't have to pretend that the Poles are English, but you have to pretend that the Negroes are English, lest you be racist, right?
Yeah, but you're contradicting yourself now.
How so?
Like, why can't they? Like, why do they need to be over here to do that? Like, why can't they? Like, oh, they're based. Well, fucking be based in your own country.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be there, of course. But
be here.
I agree with you. But now we have bigger problems, don't we? Now we have Paki rape gangs, and
we do. But we've all, like, that's not the fuck. Like, even in a fucking economical argument, like, Polish people came over here in abundance, and as a result, it reduced wages and whatnot. Like, that's a fucking fact.
Yes.
And we've got Polish enclaves and whatnot. I've got no problem with Polish people. One of my fucking best friends growing up was Polish. What I'm saying is, just because we're classified as white, there's too many of them here. Like,
yeah, I know,
like
and they can never be Scottish. They can never be English. I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Like, of course.
Of course, and I agree with that, but that doesn't mean that you are not white, and that if you and Scottish people...
I didn't say I wasn't white. I acknowledge that it's an umbrella term that encapsulates everybody of European descent, but I am more pro ethnic identity as opposed to just white.
Me too.
Because
I don't even accept Swedes, okay? I don't even accept Swedes. Blonde, blue-eyed Swedes. I don't accept them because they're not Norwegian. So I understand perfectly what you're saying.
No, that's
like
completely
if you go down that route, I just don't understand people that go down that route. They say, oh, white, and they like, because if you do that, then why, like, if you need immigrants in your country to replenish your birth rate or whatever the case may be, we'll just open the border to Polish people then. Like, and then they turn around and they say, oh, no, Polish for the Polish, Scottish for the Scottish. You can't have it both ways. If we're all white, then you shouldn't have a problem with Polish people coming into your country. The same way that you know what I mean? Why? I don't know.
Why not?
Contradiction.
Why not? I have a problem with the Samis in Norway. They're white, but I don't accept them as Norwegian, even though they've been living in Norway for 1,000 years. They are not Norwegian. They are Samis.
No, I just
so I don't see this dichotomy. It's a false dichotomy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know it's not. I'm not trying to be a dick here. I don't even know who the fuck you are, but you've contradicted yourself because you come in here all guns blazing about the term white, but now you've just said there that there's certain people that you know that you classify as white, but you still won't accept them. So
it's Norwegian. Yes, that's Norwegian. No, just because you're white doesn't mean you're Norwegian.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, but how's that any different to what I've said all fucking night?
No.
That's my point. Okay. I'm not trying to argue. I don't know who you are. I'm just saying, like, how's it any different to what I've said?
It's different because you said that you have to abandon your national identity if you identify as white, which you don't.
I'm all about my national identity.
No.
I'm all about my national identity, Gaji.
No one's saying that. I will absolutely die on this hill. I will 100% die on this hill.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that Saremer is correct in the sense that he is identifying distinct ethnies as being their own group, and that this supersedes the term white. That is to say, it's sort of like with it's
a more specific category. White is a less specific category. Caucasian is even less specific.
Correct.
Right? Human is even less specific. Mammal is even less specific. And like we are attacked on the level of white. That's the level we are all attacked on. Whether we like it or not, that's all I'm saying. Yeah.
No, but it's like Canis, Canis, the dogs, right? You have dogs as a group, but there's also multiple different types of breeds of dogs. And basically what Saremer is saying is that, okay, but Huskies are Huskies and they're not Dachshunds.
Yeah, that's racist.
Precisely.
That's discriminatory.
Correct. But Saremer is saying that dogs will be attacked. We're just going to go with a dog analogy for the moment. But Saremer is correct that dogs will be attacked as dogs. whether they are Huskies or Dachshunds or Offenpinchers or whatever, who cares? Pick one. Pomeranians, it doesn't really matter. The dogs will be attacked as being dogs, even though the individual breeds will see themselves as being distinct. And this is why I come back to the idea of, we'll stick with the dog analogy only for the moment, even though it's going to fall apart quickly, but who cares? I think it's important for the Huskies to disregard whoever the hell it is that's attacking them for being dogs and just say, I don't care, like, I may be a dog, but I'm a Husky before anything else. Just as the Offenpinchers ought to say, before I am anything else, I am an Offenpincher. I may be a dog, but I'm a freaking Offenpincher.
Yeah.
Same with the Golden Retrievers and so on. So, and I do think that this is, honestly, I really think that this is a big issue, because the fact that Saramer came on here, guns ablazing, all hopped up on this, and the fact that, some of us, myself included, got a little bit defensive about it, speaks to the fact that I do think that this is an issue absolutely worth addressing, and one that, like here in America, it's a mess. It's a freaking mess. But you guys have a chance at really laying claim to the concept of being an indigenous people, and I think that I think that holding on to national identity, like really holding on to national identity, and rejecting, going back to the dog analogy, rejecting dogness and embracing breed, I think that's the best way to go, because once you start identifying as breed, then you can say, this is the domain of the breed, this is the territory of the breed. And we, within our breed, we will govern ourselves and each other, and we will not accept exogenous group. We will not accept the rule of the cats.
Every ethnic group is to rule itself. I mean, Correct. This is just self-evident in my opinion. Right? It's an offense for the Scottish to be ruled by the English. I can understand that, and also vice versa. So just because we're white, it doesn't mean that we are the same nationality, because white is not a nationality, but white is a race. And we are attacked as a race, so we have to deal with that. We have to answer that.
Correct. Yes. So I suppose
I have to challenge you on the dog analogy. I'm afraid.
Go ahead. Yeah, go
because I think if a husky came round and wanted to hunt my Springer Spaniel, he'd be straight at it. To be honest.
Can I just say, though, right, Martin Skywalker said, it's a little different when talking about Polish, etc. We have bigger problems. Do we share same ethnic physiognomy and religion? ? Whereas the newcomers are wholly... This is my fucking... I don't give a shit what colour you are. Like, there's too many immigrants in my country. Your country too, by the way. I think you're Scottish. I understand. Like, I've never said in any of my videos, I acknowledge the term white. My fucking point is that I'm Scottish. This term white Scottish has to stop. We're Scottish. Yeah. If you're German, you're German. Yeah. It has to stop, because this is not point of contention. Like, it's not that I disavow the term white. I've never once said that. It's when you start to go down the route of saying you're white Scottish, or in your case, white Norwegian, right? Then that allows other people to go, I'm black Norwegian.
It's a superfluous term. It's superfluous. All Scots are white. All Norwegians are white. But that's just how it is. So when you open up, when you put this hyphenated identities, then you are sowing the seeds of destruction for your own nationality. So we should just reject it. You say white Scottish, that's superfluous. All Scots are white. Not all whites are Scots, but all Scots are white.
No, there's no Scot that ain't
I'm going to come back to, I think that identifying as indigenous, identifying as indigenous is going to be the key. I really think that.
We are fucking indigenous.
I think that's a cope. Because America is ours. The new world is ours. And then we are going to have to fight for our white identity in the new world on the frontiers. And we cannot back down. That continent is our new world.
Well, okay.
So
no. Actually, I want to address.
Diaspora should come home.